Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
It's a holiday in Nigeria, but we cannot but talk about money because without money, you can't even have a holiday. So that's why I want to welcome you to a very, very special edition of the program, Money Talks. This Easter Monday is the 10th of April, 2023. Smart Uzechi is my name, Captain Smart, if you would. And today, because it's a very special edition, we needed to bring back a very special guest on the program as we continue to talk about retirement planning today along our financial planning series on Money Talks this evening. We have our guest, Sylvanus Eneche, CFA. He returns to the program this evening. Of course, like you know, Sylvanus is a banker. He has over 2 decades of experience and is currently serving as the Chief Risk Officer at WEMA Bank Plc. Sylvanus has had a beautiful career spanning commercial banking, investment banking, stockbroking, and currently risk management. Sylvanus is CFA charter holder, is a pharmacist by training, and a financial analyst by calling. He's keen, a very keen volunteer with CFA Society Nigeria, and is the current vice chair of membership committee of the society. He is passionate about growing small and medium scale Nigerian businesses by encouraging their access to finance and financial advice. So, ladies and gentlemen, for one more time, let's welcome to the studio Mr. Sylvanus Eneche. No, farm Sylvanus Eneche, although he talks money now.
Thank you for having me.
Good evening to you. It's so good to have you on this holiday. But as I said, there is no holiday without money. And that's why we'll have to continue to talk about money on the program today. Today, we'll continue to talk about retirement planning. When we talk about retirement, is one that brings some kind of chilly kind of feeling to people. When you remember that you have to grow old someday, you won't have as much strength as you have now. They may even sack you from your work, or you'll be forced to retire, and then the income will not be streaming in like it is now. What then happens to you? How would you take care of yourself? How would you buy medications and all of that? So we're going to be looking at that on the program this evening. Remember that you can be a part of the program. You can call us 01277 1923. We'd like your calls to come in as early as possible so that we'll have time to take care of them. When we start the discussion now, we may not have time to take calls again. 012771923. You can also call 012772923. That's 012772923, or reach us on 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. I'll also give you 0814 0000923. That's 0814 0000923, or 0818 444 0923. So Sylvanus, you have already laid the foundation the last time you were here, talking about retirement planning and why we should do that and when to actually do that. So can you go a little deeper by giving us the nuggets, as far as retirement planning is concerned, what we'll call the nuggets of retirement planning on the program? Let's start from there. This is your second coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Smart, and thank you for having me once again. You said what are the nuggets, and I think what you call open secrets. The secrets are out there in the open, and it's just for people to absorb or assimilate those secrets, and they will be successful in their retirement planning. And I will go back again to what I said the last time. The first thing is to start early. So you start early, you start planning. There's a wise saying that he who fails to plan plans to fail. So unless if you start early and you have your plans, you will not be able to make that make a success of it. So definitely starting early is the first thing. Secondly, you also need to look at your investments in the light of what they call inflation. I doubt if a lot of people know this, but in Nigeria today, inflation is trending at almost about 22%. What that means is that if you are talking to an investment advisor, a pension administrator, or a financial advisor, they'll be able to help you look at various asset classes that can match and outpace inflation. So in investment, that's what we call a real return. So you start to make a real return when your investment is able to meet and beat inflation. It's not every asset class that can achieve that, because there's what you call a risk-return relationship between asset classes. So I will go back again to the fact that you start early. It is important, as much as possible, you get the advice of an advisor. Okay. Looking at your cash flow also, there's this thing that people look at, and I just want to make a distinction between it, which is, one is retirement planning and another is planning your cash flow in retirement. So retirement planning today, you want to keep to get as much cash as possible, diversify it, give your portfolio the room to grow. But in retirement, when you get to that point, and a lot of times when we talk about retirement planning, we forget that there's also that point where you actually need to start drawing on your savings. So planning your cash flow in retirement is also very important. So you need to have a clear sense of where you're going with it, how much you're going to be spending, what your expenses are like, and you ensure that you can keep up. I use this example because a lot of times people do not see that they need to curb their excesses in retirement. So if you've been used to a certain lifestyle, by the time you retire, you must be clear in your mind that either you have to curb your expenses, especially if your income has, or your retirement income is not going to keep pace with that. So those are really the key things that one should look out for. Be able to plan your retirement, plan your cash flow in advance, understand that you will need to curb your expenses. And let me just finish with an interesting story that I had a discussion with a few friends recently, and one of them was retiring from an oil and gas multinational. And prior to his retirement, they had gone into an estate where all of them had subscribed to some units. They planned to retire there. And when they were discussing, one of them said, look, I need to put solar panels because I just want to have power at every time. And the other one said, I want to have power also, but what I want is I can't stay without AC. So gentleman number one puts solar panels in his unit. The other guy puts a generating set. And of course, a few years down the line, both of them retire. And we all know what has happened to diesel price. So gentleman number one says, gentleman number two comes to him a few days later and says, look, I need those solar panels now. What has happened? His income cannot keep up with his expenses, or his retirement income rather. So you need to plan with a clear sense that in retirement, you need to cut your expenses. You need to live within a certain limit, because the money is not just coming in like it used to.
So Sylvanus, when one begins to think about the fact that you have to retire and there's no way your retirement benefits are going to be equal to when you are in active service, the question to ask is it really possible for somebody to save as much money, or to have in his or retirement savings that amount of money that can actually see them through life, especially if they want to live a long life?
Okay. There's no 100% guarantee for anything. And I was speaking with I was speaking with the gentleman that runs the CFA Society office, and explaining to him that when we talk about retirement planning, really what you're talking about is people beginning to understand what they call behavioral finance. So for us as individuals, as human beings, we all have a lot of biases that we carry along with us. So one of the most famous biases for me in terms of the Nigerian context is the optimism bias. So people do not plan because they believe that in our own parlance, it go better. Everything, it go better.
God day.
You know. So when you have the money, when you have the resources, you are flexing because you know tomorrow will go better. And you know, Smart, you brought up an issue earlier on of people counting on their children to take care of them in their old age. That's still optimism bias, because you believe that your children will be all right, they'll be doing well. Maybe in the old days it used to be the case. When you have 8 or 9 children, 1 or 2 of them might do very well, and they'll be able to take care of you. But now, most families, you have 2, 3. When you see a person with 4 kids or 5 kids, that's a big family these days. So you find out that a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Africans have this optimism bias, believing that things will be okay regardless, and so they really do not plan for that day with that in mind, that look, I need to plan. So there's that optimism bias. Also, I keep saying that you need an advisor because of all these issues around where you stay and the kind of baggage you're carrying. So your advisor is set aside from you. He's not involved in your own personal issues. He can take dispassionate decisions about your portfolio. For instance, being able to diversify that portfolio, putting it in the appropriate asset classes, and ensuring that the risk of the portfolio with regards to either the liquidity or the return requirement is met. And why can you not do that as an individual? So as an individual, most of the time we have certain issues that we're dealing with, and I'll just name a few of them. I've spoken about optimism bias. There's also what we call recency bias. There's herd mentality. Recency bias is, for instance, if you talk to anybody at a given point in time in Nigeria, they'll tell you that the best place to put your money is in the stock market. Why would they have said so? Maybe the stock market was shooting up and doing very well. And so you find out that a lot of time people will push all their money into the most recent news. You don't want to do that. Your investment advisor can look at your time horizon for investment and be able to advise you and say, okay, let us go long, because your plan is a long-term loan. A long-term plan. Yeah, I'm talking about loans. In the other case, there are also things like confirmation bias. Maybe you just feel that, look, the best place to put your money is in the stock market, or the best place to put your money is in real estate, and that's where you put your money. And you believe that any good news that comes out about real estate, it confirms your decision. However, if there's any bad news, no, those people don't know what they're talking about. So you hold on to what it is. It's also related to what you call anchoring. You know, you anchor yourself on certain news or certain prices that you believe. So all these biases exist. An investment advisor, a financial advisor, is able to take the learnings that he has had in his field and apply them to your portfolio and able to guide you, right? So it is very important that you have such advice. And I think that if there's anything that I would recommend, is that everybody that has a pension portfolio that starts to think about retirement planning, put a call through to your advisor, let them walk you through it, and then you discuss your plan with them.
In case you're just tuning in, this is Money Talks, and Money Talks is a financial literacy program brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. And today we're continuing our discussion on retirement planning. Sylvanus Eneche, CFA, is a guest on the program this evening. If you have any question around retirement planning, retirement savings, or decisions you need to make around the financial advisor, this is your best bet on the program this evening. If you did miss the last program, you can go to the CFA Society website. That's www.cfasocietynG.org, so you can go and get information on what we're doing here. This is a financial literacy program teaching people, the populace, about finances is our priority here. So 0700 923 923 923 is the number that you can call. That's 0700 923 923 923 or 0817 313 6193. Send us a message. Hello, good evening to you. Thank you so much for calling.
Good evening, Pastor Smart.
Thank you.
And from Sylvanus. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have two questions. Maybe we can call it concerns too. Now, you said that for parents who believe or hope that their children will take care of them, that's optimism. Now, I want to ask, where does government pensions and gratuities come? Because you are working as a civil servant, and those monies are deducted from your salary, and you're supposed to get it by the time you retire. I stand to tell you that my mom retired 15 years ago, yet she hasn't been paid her gratuity. 15 years ago. So if she didn't have children, and how will she cope? And we have systems that government are not saying anything. That's one. Secondly, you said when you're looking at investment or planning for a retirement, you look at the ones that match up with inflation. Is there really anyone that match up with inflation rate now in Nigeria? Because you do all these things, you ask questions, I tell you 5%, 7%, but inflation is 20-something%. So how do you marry those two? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ugochi, for calling us. The number to call, 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. You can also call us on 01277 1923. That's 01277 1923. The other number to call, 01277 2923. Or send us a message on WhatsApp, 0817 313 6193. 0817 313 6193. Farm Sylvanus Eneche is with me in the studio, and we're talking retirement planning today. You heard from Ugochi right there. You want to respond to those two questions.
Thank you, Ugochi. And let me just recap. One was about the propensity for Africans to depend on their children because government does not meet their needs timeously.
Keep their promise, because somebody retired 15 years.
You gave the example of your mom that retired 15 years ago. And if I recall, the second question was also about investing to match inflation so that you have a real return. So I'm going to answer the two questions. I cannot give an expansive answer because of the limited time we have, but I'll just try to assure you that, yes, indeed, government might have in the past have had issues with meeting up with those retirement obligations. More interestingly is the fact that now, in order to change the way that things operate, we actually have pension advisors, PFAs. You're supposed to, so we've changed from what you call a defined benefits to a defined contribution scheme. Under the defined contribution is your money that you have saved that they make accessible to you, and it is structured in such a way that the pension fund advisor is different from the pension fund custodian, and what that means is that your money is quote unquote safe, and at the same time, whenever you need it, you get it. So things have changed, I believe, for the better. So it's now what you call a contributory scheme, a defined contribution, So
this applies to government workers as well.
This applies also in a lot of cases to government workers. I think the people that still do the defined benefits are probably the military. But indeed, I know that as part of the CFA Society's initiatives, we are going to bring in the guys that run the pensions to talk to you guys. With regards to the question you asked about your mom, the second thing, of course, is why we're having this program. Regardless of what you do in terms of having government, a contribution scheme or a defined benefit scheme, it is also important that personally you also plan for your own retirement. So even in the United States, where I believe they have a system that works, they still advise you that apart from your social security, which is really what their pension comes to be when they retire, they also advise you to have investments in what they call 401k, IRA accounts. Those are tax efficient savings vehicles that allow you to also keep something to supplement. So Ugochi, I hear you, and it is painful when you hear stories of people that have retired and have not seen their benefits. But I think that in the time of our parents, it was more prevalent. Now, with a lot of private sector employees doing the defined contribution or the contributory pension scheme, I think the cases are reducing. But again, government needs to tackle that head on. Your second question about investing in an instrument that will outstrip inflation, there are vehicles and there are opportunities. Ugochi, if you talk to an investment advisor, there are instruments that you can invest in that obviously will yield higher return, but they also have certain restrictions. So I can give you a clear example. The longer the length of an instrument or the tenor of an instrument, the more likely it is going to yield you a higher return. Also, when you invest, in a number of cases, if you go as an individual and you have 1 million, they can tell you, I'm going to give you 3%, 4% as your interest rate. But if you go as part of, let's say, a mutual fund that has brought in 1,000 people that have contributed 1,000, you are investing like 1 billion, chances are they are going to give you guys 13 or 14%. What am I saying? That is really what happens when the pension fund advisors or the investment advisors put together papers and they're able to invest on behalf of people. What you need is somebody that understands this and is able to help you plan. So oftentimes it is good to understand where you are going, what your plan is. But you are very right, Ugochi. You need advice to be able to invest in instruments that will yield enough return to match inflation, or in some case keep pace with it. And again, different asset classes have different return types. So it's not just, when we talk about diversification, it is not just in investing in different categories of stocks. It is investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, in some cases even foreign currency denominated assets. So that way you'll be able to match some of these.
Thank you so much, Sylvanus. We're almost out of time on the program, but I'm going to squeeze two questions together, and I appreciate if you can answer like in 3 minutes maximum. And that's off of what you just said now, while you were responding, that apart from the contributory pension that is mandatory, like from maybe deducted at source where you are paid, that people should also try, to do something personal. You mentioned America and all of that. So different climes, for different realities. Like back home here, somebody might be asking, where's the money? After deducting my pension at source, the little one will remain. No go even carry me go anywhere. They also ask me now to take out money from there. So there's already paucity of funds. How do they deal with that? The fact that whatever is left is not even enough, to go back to work. And then why do you think people are not actually taking advantage of this retirement planning just the way they should do it, especially as it has to do with a financial advisor?
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to try and rush through it. The first one is how do you begin to invest in
make extra planning. The small one where you get, not even reach. Yes.
But I will share with you that it's also about a state of mind. In a number of cases, when as an employee you've started your contributory savings, there's the opportunity for you to do what they call an AVC, additional voluntary contribution. It helps. It is also tax efficient. A lot of people don't know about that, but it can help you. And the beauty of the AVC is that they've structured it in such a way that the additional voluntary contribution after a certain period of time can actually be accessed, and you would have had some very good tax savings. So that's an opportunity you can key into. So it is almost like you are deferring your expenditure and able to get a very tax efficient way of saving. Now, your second question, which relates to, sorry, Smart, remind me.
Yeah, I said, why are people not taking advantage of this retirement planning, especially as it has to do with getting a financial advisor? Again, they'll say, where the money will go take pay?
Yeah. So it's not in all cases that you need to pay your financial advisor. In some cases, you actually have them at your disposal. And I will share with you guys a secret. One of those secrets is, if you have a friend that works in a pension fund advisor, talk to him. If you do have a PFA, you can call them. They have switchboard lines. You can ask to speak to one. Again, if you have a friend that works in a bank that can guide you, if not talk to you about investment, I would recommend that at least you speak to him, and then from there you say, okay, I will talk to somebody in a PFA. It is also important that when you talk to people, you don't take what they are saying hook, line, and sinker, but you are sure that you are speaking to somebody that is licensed to do that job. So you're not going to fall into the hands of some sharp guys.
Yeah. Okay. Then where to start? How do people get started? Is this just for people who are working? What for business people who do business, who there's nobody there to say, okay, this is your contributory scheme? Are people who are on their own, like people who are doing private businesses, how do they take advantage of this?
Okay. How do people take advantage of this? One is that the pension fund administrators have things they call micro pensions. They are open to even self-employed people. You can start at any level you want. You could be saving as little as 100 naira a day. And indeed, it is even the nature of what we do as a lot of Nigerians. There's what you call ajo. It's just that it's a short-term pension solution. But
do you encourage ajo actually? Because many times those people disappear.
Of course, the micro pensions is almost like ajo. So if you have decided that over the next 5-10 years, I'm going to be saving 100 naira a day, you can do that. And it's not going to be a burden, right? Then, of course, the other thing is that if you also, I have a friend that told me that whatever he does at any point in time, he's a businessman. He has a project that is at hand. That way, any excess that comes into his hand, he's able to put it in that project. He likes to do real estate. So for private individuals, you want to do things like that would enable you to save money without it. And I can tell you that if there's raw cash in your account, it will find its way out. It's like water.
All right. Because of time, that's what we're going to call it a wrap today. We must say thank you to Sylvanus Eneche for coming again the second time on the program. It's been very enlightening. I can assure you. I'm sure you learned a thing or two with this second coming. You can go onto the CFA Society website, www.cfasocietyng.org, and get more information for yourself. You can also check out our social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at CFA Society NG. You can go on there, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, so you can get more information about our programs and about the things that we do on the program here. On behalf of our producer, Mr. Yemi Ajagun, who is pacing about in the studio here, and everybody at CFA Society Nigeria. Thank you so much, Sylvanus, for coming. Till next week, Monday, 4:30. Stay here. We will be right back.
Inspiration FM.
It's 5 p.m. from Alpha Morgan Capital, your investment banking institution.